You know the story. We've built up our libraries one book at a time, potentially over years. But somewhere along the way, we feel like we're lost. We no longer take the time to read the books we acquire, and we resent ourselves for it. We've begun to ask the question, what am I doing? What's the point of all this? The good news is we don't need to feel that way. We're all about books here on Erudite Magic. So I'm going to share with you what I've learned over the last 3 years of buying, reading, studying, and producing videos about these paper products we love so much. And in this episode, we're going to navigate these guilty feelings together. If you stay tuned to the end, I'll share with you the single greatest thing I've ever read on the subject of books. Something I hope will inspire you. Back to those feelings of guilt. What if I told you that we could reframe the way we're thinking about all of these unread books or books that we haven't touched in a while? After all, most of us don't regret the unwatched movies patiently waiting for us out there on Netflix. And why should our magic library be any different? That's right, we can train our brains to think about them in a completely different way that frees us from the guilt that we're feeling. So what is this magical solution? I've touched on this concept in other episodes, but over 3 years of prioritizing what I've read, I've come to embrace this concept at the very core of my magic library. If you haven't seen those other episodes, I'm talking about the anti-library. And if you don't know what that is, it's a concept that was made popular through the life of Umberto Eco. And it's essentially the crux of our solution. The concept hypothesizes that we should surround ourselves with knowledge. And part of that is because the knowledge that we don't know is more valuable than the knowledge that we do know. In other words, we should buy books and keep them around us, even if we don't read them to consume their contents. Essentially, the anti-library reminds us that there's a lot more to learn and keeps us humble. It also inspires us to be lifelong students, especially knowing that we'll never know it all. That's important for us to remember here in the magic world. No one knows everything. That's right, not even the professor. In fact, some people say that there are more books on the subject of magic than any other subject. While I'm not sure that that's true, it's still an important facet of this whole discussion. So no matter how much we study, practice, and perform, there are still other things to learn, and that's what makes this such a fantastic passion. Magic is a deep, deep lake. And you get to choose your own experience. You can stay in the shallow end, or you can dive as deep as you want and still never reach the bottom. It should be obvious to you by now that with this concept of an anti-library, books are different from other types of magic instruction. In order for this concept to be effective, we have to surround ourselves with physical reminders. That simply doesn't work as well with things like video downloads, ebooks, or even in-person instruction. As book lovers, we're not against these other types of learning, but they just can't have the same anti-library effect, especially on a day-to-day basis. But what we may not expect is that for maximum effect, we should put books everywhere. In fact, if you were to visit the Koa Casa, you're highly likely to see magic books in a variety of places. My office, the coffee table, our library, and even on my nightstand. These serve as signposts to remind me of my magic library, as well as gently encourage me to pick one up and read for a little bit. Here's a bonus tip for you. In addition to having the books all around your house, take a book with you everywhere you go. Next time you're stuck somewhere waiting on something, pull out the book and just read a few paragraphs. Or don't, and simply let it serve as a reminder of some of the magic knowledge we don't yet know. But what about acquiring new books? Don't you need to read the books you have before you acquire new ones? No, that's not necessarily correct if you truly embrace this concept. We don't need the knowledge that that one book has. You're enough, even as you are. But we buy them because they inspire us and remind us that we should continue to pursue this passion. They serve as a physical reminder of our thirst for knowledge and of our quest for real magic. While I think this approach and concept is highly effective, there are a couple of warnings if you decide to implement it. One is that you need to be able to afford the books that you're buying. I'm never going to encourage you to be irresponsible with your money. If you don't have the money, then don't buy. Because that brings us to point number 2. No single book contains the one secret that will take us to the next level. So don't buy for the wrong reason. Because you A, think it will be a game changer, or B, fear of missing out. Instead, let's look at these books as investments in ourselves as magicians and artists. Buy books that you believe are artistic endeavors from authors you respect. I even encourage you to buy some periodically from artists that you don't like. See these books for what they are. Investments that will pay dividends slowly and surely over a lifetime of accumulation. All that said, when you're buying magic books, you want to know that you're shopping with a reputable dealer who's going to give you a fair and honest shake. Whether you're looking for artistic books, practical books, old or new, shop with the sponsor of this week's video, Don's Magic and Books. Don is a fantastic magic book dealer who loves to see gently used books get a new home. He carries a huge selection on his website, everything from old, out of print, hard to find rare gems to the latest and greatest. And as always, he offers them at fantastic prices. If you live in the United States, you'll very quickly qualify for free shipping when you buy books through him, so the savings continue to stack up. He's always adding new things to the website, and some of these are one of a kind. You don't want to miss out on that, so be sure to check out his website via the link down in the description below. I don't know what you're waiting for. Shop with Don's Magic and Books this week. Before I share my favorite quote with you about books, I hope that this episode has helped you get more comfortable with your magic library. And now we can look at all of these magic books in a completely different light. One that inspires us instead of makes us feel guilty. If you want my best tips for studying your library, be sure to check out this video. As always, my friends, I appreciate you watching. And until next time, keep reading.